This is Shelley Craft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're at the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek, Colorado, 2016. With me is Allan Kelly, Doray Minerals Limited. It's a publicly traded company, and the symbol is DRM on the ASX exchange. Welcome back to SNNLive.
Thanks very much, Shelley. Thanks for the invite.
It's good to have you. Let's get started with an overview of the company first.
Yeah, Doray Minerals is an Australian gold producer, developer and explorer. We've been around about 6 years. We made a discovery back in 2010 and that became our Andy Well gold mine. That's been in production for about 3 years. And then about 18 months ago we announced a takeover of a company called Mutiny Gold. They had a project called Deflector, which is in Western Australia as well. And over the last 12 months we've funded that project, built it, and we've now got that up and running. So we're a two-mine producer in Australia.
Let's talk about a couple of things. Size of the resource, if you would.
Sure, they're both quite small deposits but high grade. Andy Well has been running at around sort of 8 to 9 grams per tonne recently. We've produced averaged about 80,000 ounces a year for the last 3 years. It's still got a reserve life of about 2 years ahead of it after 3 years, and probably about three or 4 years in resources. Deflector's a little bit bigger. It has a 6-year mine life as a starting point, and that will produce about 60,000 ounces a year of gold plus some copper and silver as well. So it's a bit bigger project.
You weren't in production last year when I interviewed you, were you?
We're in production at Andy Well, but we weren't in production at Deflector. Yeah.
So now, what's going on as far as drilling, exploration? What's going on in the area?
Yeah, we've upped our exploration budget this year. We've got about a $15 million Australian exploration budget. That's split between our near mine mine life addition programs at both Andy Well and Deflector. We'll spend about $6 million at Andy Well this year on sort of in mine and near mine drilling. We'll spend about $4 million at Deflector, testing some of the near mine targets there. And one of our key differences is our regional exploration spend. We started as an exploration company. We made a discovery, took that into production. So we'll spend about another $4 to $5 million on regional projects looking for our next discovery as well.
So you really know how to get it done. You know how to find it, develop it, and produce it. That's it's not a common commodity.
Yeah, well, I guess we pride ourselves on that track record. You know, we've taken one project from virgin discovery into production in 3.5 years at Andy Well, and then Deflector, we took that from a project that was ready to go but was nothing on the ground, and we've started mining and we've built a completely new village, a completely new processing plant, and got that up and running on time and on budget as well. So, we've funded and built 2 mines in 4 years, which is pretty rare in Australia.
So now, what's your background?
I'm a geologist, about 25 years in exploration geology. I was with Western Mining for about 7 years in Australia and also North America. I actually lived in Denver for a couple of years. Worked up in Alaska and Mexico and Arctic Canada. I was also with Avoca Resources for about 3 years doing exploration in South Australia. And then I started Doray from scratch with a couple of exploration projects that I pegged, and then built the company around that. So I'm an exploration geologist. That's been my whole career, and we're backing ourselves to make more discoveries and bring them into production as well.
Tell me about the rest of the team.
Yeah, we've got a really good team. When you have a great project like Andy Well, we're able to attract some really good people to the company. My operations manager is a mining engineer with about getting on to sort of almost 40 years experience. He's run a lot of mines in Australia. I've got a really good exploration manager who's worked for companies like Harmony up in Papua New Guinea, all over sort of the Kalgoorlie area, and has been with us getting on for 6 years, so almost been around the whole time I have. And we're building the company, as we grow. So we've been able to attract some really good people to the company as well.
Now we're almost into the fourth quarter 2016, heading into 2017 shortly thereafter. If you had to give me a little bit of guidance on your vision for the rest of 2016 and 2017, what is that?
Okay, so I guess one of the keys will be getting Deflector up and running into full production. So we're going through a couple of transition phases at the moment. We're going through some oxide and transitional ore, and then we get into primary ore in December, January, so it's about the time frame you're talking about there. We've also got a new project called Nawita, which sits about 15 kilometres away from Andy Well, and we want to get that to a decision point in about mid next year, because we think that'll have a pretty significant impact on the Andy Well production profile going forward. And then from a business development point of view, we're not satisfied where we are at the moment in terms of production. We would like another 100,000 ounces of production in the portfolio. So whether that comes from a discovery or potentially from another acquisition that we'd like we did with Mutiny, that's a key, I guess, corporate goal as well, to get another project basically in the next 12 to 18 months as well.
Hypothetically, it sounds to me like the company is self-funding. Is that the case?
Should be, yeah. We've used debt to build Andy Well and also Deflector, and we've had a pretty quick payback on that debt. And so once that debt is down to a sort of manageable level, we get to start really, ramping up exploration budgets and things like that. So ideally, we'd be able to do the same thing when it comes to the next project as well.
All right, let's get your website out there for our investor audience for more information, if you would.
Sure, it's www.dorayminerals.com.au. Don't forget the AU, that's very important.
Ladies and gentlemen, Allan Kelly, Doray Minerals Limited. Don't forget the AU. And it's a publicly traded company, DRM, on the Australian Stock Exchange. That's the ASX. I'm Shelley Craft. This is SNNLive, and we're coming to you live from the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek, Colorado, 2016. Allan, I want to thank you, and we'll see you again soon, eh?
Yes, see you next year. Thanks very much for the invite.
My pleasure.